All right. We are back again on the other side of the coin. Oh, man. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm glad we got the top four, honestly, courtesy of Spurs helping us out. But I mean, how can you be happy with that performance? That performance was not a performance of a team that is looking to get top four and needs to go out there and win. Aston Villa was the one who looked like they wanted the top four more than us. So we've been given a massive favor from Spurs. Leicester obviously bottled it as well from their side. They're at home, so they had every opportunity to go through. But if we play like that in the Champions League final, I'm telling you, we are going to get absolutely annihilated. Our biggest issue is we can't finish up front. We simply cannot finish up front. We had chances in the first half before they scored, and I knew it from that time that if we don't put these chances away, and this has been the theme since Thomas Tuchel has come in, that we've been getting lucky previously, but in recent times, we're not lucky anymore. We don't score, we concede, and it's game over. It literally is game over. We've got quite a few people that have joined in. Smash the like button, guys, while you're here. Also, the jersey promotion is on today. Check out the description. Get yourself discounted jersey, 50% off plus 10% with my code. So get yourself a jersey. I've got a couple of jerseys. Honestly, they're fantastic, brilliant. Almost looks as good as the real one. Well, a couple of comments here. Let's read some. Marcus Rashford, Chelsea was so bad. We were unbelievably bad. Abhijit Balia, we love Tottenham. Chelsea, yeah, you know what? Massive thank you to Tottenham. I mean, we didn't get through on our merit. We went through because of Spurs. So, yeah, as a Chelsea fan, I don't know how I completely feel about that. As I said, I'm happy we made the top four, which secures Champions League for us next season, which is going to mean a lot for us in terms of targets, in terms of funding. But this is not the way I want to make top four. Let's make it, let's not kid ourselves. Marcus Rashford, again, it's looking grim for UCL final. As I said, we play like this. I think City just won, 5-0 or 6-0, something like that today against Everton. I'm telling you, they've just hit, they wanted to win before the Champions League final. They wanted to go into the final feeling very good about themselves. And honestly, they're going to feel supreme about themselves. Us, how can we feel good about ourselves knowing that's the performance that we put? And we completely imploded as well. As soon as we conceded that goal, Kovacic, Jorginho, Timo Werner, everyone just absolutely imploded. Taryn, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, very good. Actually, I'm really happy. I know when we lost to Porto, it was kind of like, wow, I felt like a loss. But to me, this feels like a win. Honestly, the fact that we were 10th, what was it, in January, and we've come so far in Thomas Tuchel, and now we're in the top 4. I think it's a massive achievement, honestly, and it's such a promising first half of the season. So, yeah, honestly, I'm feeling really good, to be honest.
You know what? When you look at it from a holistic perspective, yeah, you'd say we're happy we got into top 4, but I can't be happy with that performance, Dan. I really can't. Like, you look at what Man City did against Everton, absolutely annihilated them off the park, and they're going to now move into the final with so much confidence. What kind of confidence are we taking into this final? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the manner we lost, this is what I always want to talk about, the manner, the way we sort of absolutely imploded. As soon as they conceded, Kovacic, Jorginho. Kovacic got lucky, man. I thought he was going to get a red card as well. Eventually, Azpilicueta got a red card. RJ, my man, how you doing?
That's how I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is our season here.
Oh, my days. Yeah, you've gone nuts.
It's ridiculous. I'm struggling. Nuts. I don't know what just happened. I feel sick because on one hand, I'm very happy. On the other hand, it's the manner in which it happened. And job done.
I mean, kudos to Taryn feeling happy. As I said, I'm happy for the top 4, but I can't be happy with that performance, man. That was That was unbelievable. Seriously, Aston Villa looked like they were chasing for top four. Nishal, my boy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Sharing the same sentiments as you guys. I'm not happy with the result, but I'm happy with the outcome. Look, at the end of the day, we won a Champions League football. That was the aim. We've done that. Whether we won, whether we lost, whether we drew, that was the main aim. But we can still sit here and say, okay, yes, we're happy with how it's ended up and how we've ended the season, but that wasn't good enough. That's 3 defeats in 4 games now to end the season. That's not the form you want for a team who's in the top 4, he was in an FA Cup final, and he has a Champions League final ahead. So there is a lot we can, praise. We can praise Thomas Tuchel. We can praise what we've seen over the last 4 months. But there's a lot to criticise as well, especially with what we've seen today, because that simply was not good enough.
No, 100% agreed, Nishal. 100% agreed. Like recently, we've been absolutely bottling it big time. We'll get into this first of all. Sir Daddy, thank you so much for this super chat. If we play like this, we will get slapped by City. There's no doubt. Seriously, there's no doubt. Our biggest thing is, guys, is to ensure that we keep a clean sheet. That's our strength. If we keep a clean sheet, then we're always good for a goal like we did with Ben Chilwell today. But as soon as we concede, if we concede first, then more times than none, it is going to be very difficult for us. And that's how it's turned out to be. Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button. Look, at the end of the day, we got top 4. We got top 4. Let's try and sort of be happy about that. Obviously, we will get into the nitty-gritty of this match, and don't worry, guys. We're definitely going to be strict on this particular match, but I think we need to realize the bigger story, which is we got top 4. That was the aim as soon as we sacked Frank Lampard earlier in the season, and we got into that. But we'll definitely get into the review. Quite a few super chats coming in. Thank you so much, guys, for the super chat. Gabriel, lucky escape as well as a finisher. We need brawn and nasty midfield and true leadership like we had in mid-2000s. Luck needed for final. Yeah, man. The midfield, Kovacic and Jorginho, once we conceded, even just before we conceded, they didn't look that great. Kovacic, I remember in the first half, let in, lost the ball, and that could have been a dangerous situation. McGinn, I think, missed that. Declared here, thank you so much, Declared, for the super chat. These last games were an audition for who starts the UCL final. I hope this eliminates complacency within the players and the best starting 11 stands up. Yeah, we will talk about the player performances today, and obviously that has, the games that have played in recent times. Maybe 1 or 2 players, I don't know if they really should be starting, but then again, the people that came off the bench, I'm not sure exactly what they did as well. Before we get into that, like we always do, the structure, let's talk about some initial reactions of the match. I'll start with Taryn. Taryn, my man, what do you think about the match? Obviously, you said you're happy with the top 4, but what was your thoughts about the match?
Yeah, my thoughts on the match. We started off actually really well. We were applying pressure on Villa. We should have got a few goals. Mason Mount had an easy chance to finish, and he really should have, to be honest. Villa, I'd have a sense it was coming. Villa did look dangerous. McGinn had that early chance where he nicked the ball of Kovacic and he could have scored. And yeah, I always had that kind of feeling in the back of my mind that this was a similar performance to last year, where we just play really well, dominate, play side to side at times, and not really penetrate much, and then concede a goal on the counter-attack. And yeah, it did happen. It was a very good set piece, a decent goal by Traore. I mean, it was deflected. It was the best clean strike finish, but Timo Werner left his runner there. He should have stopped that. And the second half was just the same to when it's just us trying to pile pressure on them, us trying to get a goal, and there was no real end product, no real cutting edge, no real clinical football in the final third, and that's kind of what cost us the game. But I think my reactions on the game and the season as a whole is that our performances early in the season under Tuchel, even under Lampard, the games against Liverpool, we won 1-0, the game against Everton, these big games, and the game against Leicester recently have really helped us get top 4. And yeah, today wasn't the best to win and the best result, but we've reached our goal at the end of the season. There's not much more you can ask for apart from maybe good momentum building up to the final. We haven't really got that, but I don't get how you can be amazingly unhappy considering we've reached our goal. It was a really tough season for Chelsea fans and the club and the managers, the players, and we've reached our goal. So that's kind of my initial reactions. But yeah, the performance today was just, the same old, and it cost us in the end.
Yeah, look, I get you. As I said, Taryn, I completely understand your holistic point of view. I think the upsetting factor is we had a lot going into this match. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had a lot going into this match. And the fact that we went in to the top 4 because Spurs won, that's what, like, I feel like that's what doesn't sit right with me. You know what I mean? Like, completely get the fact that we made top 4, which is fantastic. That was the aim as soon as Tuchel came in. But this game itself, you know. And as this Nishal has said, the last few games, or was it RJ? I think has said that we've lost quite a few games in the last four or 5 games, and moving into the Champions League final with that sort of, you know, vibe, it just doesn't sit well with me. Nishal, what's your initial thoughts about this particular match in itself?
About the situation, I've made myself clear that I'm happy, but with the match, I'm not too happy about it. We didn't play well. We were offbeat, and it's the same old story. We had our chances, we didn't take them. We didn't look close to even scoring. We'd get into the final third, and we'd look lost, which is really worrying. And when Villa would come onto the attack, whether it was the quality of their team or the added addition of their fans, they looked more threatening. They looked more likely to score. And it was no surprise that Bertrand Traore scored just before halftime. No surprise that he won the penalty early into the second half, and they took control of the game. And we were the architects of our own downfall in that game. And it's been the case in our previous defeats against Arsenal, against Leicester, where we've not been playing well enough, where we've wasted our few chances and we've let the opposition come in, seize the game and get a goal. And, you know, in other games, it's been costly. Today, it was costly in terms of a result. You know, a team had nothing to play for. A mid-table team who were guaranteed an 11th place finish. They controlled that game and they were the better team. They deserved it against someone who was fighting for Champions League football for a return to Europe. That really worries me. And if this was the final game of the season, it would be a case of, okay, let's rest, let's recharge. We'll go again next season. We're in a brilliant position. Let's just take this time to really wind down, have some time out, and we go again next season. But we've got a Champions League final in 6 days, and I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still excited for it. Yeah. But if we're playing like we did against Arsenal, if we're playing like we did against Leicester in the FA Cup final, if we're playing like we did against Aston Villa today, I beg your pardon, that won't be good enough. That worries me because we've seen what we are capable of. We've seen what we're capable of in the run to the final, in different games in the league and the FA Cup. But then we see these weaknesses against these teams where we fall to defeats which we shouldn't be losing. And it's the same across the season. So I'm not happy with the performance today. But at the end of the day, look, we got the top 4. We're back in the Champions League for next season. And I can be happy with that. And I can acknowledge that Tuchel has done a good job there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Very well said once again. Ishraq here, thank you so much for this comment. Chelsea official app just uploaded an article saying, thank you, Tottenham. This is not the angle that I want this football club to go, where our official, page is thanking Tottenham. This is not the direction that I want to go. But as you said, yeah, top 4 achieved. Liverpool getting 3rd, man. I mean, they showed some immense I suppose rhythm, performances, and leading up into these final matches, their form was fantastic. So kudos to them to get to 3rd at the end. RJ, some of your initial thoughts, my man, of this match.
Yeah, I think the guys so far covered it quite well, but I thought it's much like a microcosm of what we've seen for most parts of this season, in the sense of we've tended to dominate the general style of play. We've struggled to really capitalize on the chances created, but even the chances themselves, some of them were gilt-edged, some of them were quite half chances, and we're just not penetrative enough. And that's a big concern for me, is because the more and more that we continue to not convert our chances, the more vulnerable we are in defence, because I think that relates to, from a mentality point of view, is that it just plays on the back of their minds. We're not scoring these, and all of a sudden a team that just sits back, has nothing to play for essentially, except for their many returning fans who I thought were superb for them and acted as a 12th man essentially, really gave them a lot of positive momentum and really helped them.
We talked about that, right, RJ, in the preview, the fans factor. Yeah.
And it was massive today, because I dare say, had it been in another fanless stadium, the level and desperation of some of the Aston Villa defending might not have been the same. And I thought players like Target were superb. I thought, Mings was quite strong, even though they had that handball thing off the line, which that can be up for debate a bit later. But overall, it was very frustrating, because I thought we started off with enough energy, like Taryn said. We were looking sharp enough. But we just struggle to put these chances away, and that breeds more and more confidence issues. That first goal that they scored was a well-worked move, no doubt about it. I thought we were a little bit passive in tracking that runner. But sometimes when the luck's against you, it's also against you, because it went over hit the bar, went in. We had many chances where we just couldn't quite convert it. So sometimes it is about what we can do, but sometimes it also things that are beyond your control. But overall, bittersweet. Happy we got the end game result. Very disappointed in the manner in which that end game result came about. So look, I think Alex Goldberg put up a tweet about, or even someone else, sorry, it's just about accepting this result and just moving forward, because I don't want to harp too much on it, especially because it was Tottenham at the end of the day that helped us. I'm not going to let that go very soon.
Exactly right, exactly. Thompson Jones, this is really nice commenting. We need Mendy and Kante in the UCL final. Hopefully they recover soon. We can't have Kepa and J5 playing in the final. To be honest, at the moment, J5 and Kovacic, even though Kovacic showed some good signs here and there, driving runs through the middle, but Kante is definitely in. It's really between Jorginho and Kovacic. Probably at the moment, Kovacic might get that nod, but it's really up to those two to see. And we'll discuss exactly what the panel thinks as well. Salman Zaki, thank you so much for the super chat. We need a DM and striker. This has been the talk of the town over the last 24 to 48 hours. That striker has been for a very long time, but DM is something that we definitely seriously need to consider. Thomas Tuchel talking about, reportedly there's some articles coming out saying that Thomas Tuchel's interested in Declan Rice. So watch this space. Ryan, my boy, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Hope you're all doing good too. Happy to join you all after a while. Thoughts on this match? I wasn't surprised. I didn't get too angry with it because, as we said, we had 4 cup finals and we lost 3 and won 1. I mean, so I wasn't really surprised with us today. It's basically same thing. We create chances. We don't put them away. We lose confidence after each chance missed. We lose more confidence, especially as RJ said in our defense. And then we concede with 1 or 2 opportunities. And that's my initial thought so far.
Yeah, man, it's strange feeling. I want to be so happy, but it's like this particular game just does not allow to me absolutely be happy. But I think the more we talk about it, hopefully we get over it. Once again, super chats flying in. Let's get this one in before we start talking about the lineups and whatnot. Gabriel, once again, thank you so much for the super chat. Top 4. Great, poor finishing again. It's given Tuchel a free hit dress rehearsal for next season. Thomas Tuchel knows us mentally and technically. In Thomas Tuchel, I trust. Yeah, man. He's done the job for this season, and I'm pretty sure he's already planning exactly what needs to happen for next season. It's going to be a massive, huge preseason, and I'm sure we're going to look very different. We have to get a striker and then possibly a DM as well, to be honest, because it's just not working out at the moment. We can't keep missing these chances. Boys, let's get into this. Let's talk about the lineup, not harping on too much about it because I do want to talk about the missed chances and whatnot. Taryn, this is the lineup that we predicted. Yourself and RJ, we both predicted this lineup for the preview. No surprises. I mean, this is what we wanted. We wanted, no changes, no tinkering. We got it. The only tinkering is Kante, which makes sense. When you saw this lineup, were you confident that we'll get the job done?
Yeah, the way we played against Leicester, the first half, we blew them away. So I was expecting something similar today. Even though there were no Chelsea fans in the stadium, I didn't think the Villa fans would really affect the game as much as they did. I knew it would be a big impact. But yeah, the lineup was, it was definitely good enough to win the game, 100%. Azpilicueta and the right wing back again. It's becoming a bit of a consistency now, I'd say. I don't know if it's going to be staying for the Champions League final. Christensen's going to move back in there. And Reece James might move on the right. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Reece James was getting exposed quite a lot on the right centre-back role. And yeah, the lineup was what we predicted. And I think a lot of people, not just us, a lot of Chelsea fans kind of predicted it. And then it comes back to, if we predict it, will Dean Smith predict it? Will John Terry predict it? And unfortunately, I think they probably would have prepared for this lineup today. And they did prepare very well, putting Ezri Konsa in to man mark our kind of our 3 inverted forwards, who are very quick and pacey. But if you get tight to them and stop them from turning, you kind of take them out of the game. So yeah, I think Villa set up really well. This line definitely good to win the game. I just think the fans had a big impact. It was maybe a bit of a mentality issue as well. I'm not quite sure what really went wrong, but yeah, the lineup was very predictable, I think, and we all kind of got it right.
Yeah, man. I don't want to harp too much about the lineup anymore because I think we all sort of predicted this lineup anyway. Let's get straight into the player performances, which will develop into exactly what went on in the match. We'll start with you, Ryan, with the player performances. Let's talk from the, front man, Timo Werner. Once again, in that first half, there was an opportunity where he fluffed it. This is the thing I don't understand. some of our players, and I think Havertz as well in the second half, he had an opportunity where he fluffs it as well, either Havertz or someone, I can't quite remember. But Timo Werner in the first half, where the ball falls nicely straight in front, he just needed a good connection and it would have been in, but then it just scuffed off his foot. And overall, I don't think Timo Werner actually had a very good game in this particular game. And once again, he chose another off time. As you said, these are all cup finals, and going missing in these sort of ones, it really starts putting a doubt on fans' mind, in the sense that, well, what type of a player are you, in the sense that in clutch moments, we need clutch players. I still believe in Timo. Don't get me wrong. I still believe in Timo, and I'm hoping that he does well next season. But this happens in the Champions League final, we are dead. So what do you think about his performance, Ryan?
Well, not only about this performance, I'm going to look at it from his whole season. I think that the first few months he took time to adapt to the physicality of the league. We saw he got overpowered a lot, was misplacing passes, was rushing his passes, wasn't dribbling well. And I think he improved on all of that as the months went along. I don't think he misplaces any passes now. I think he's very calm on the ball. He doesn't get pushed over as much. So a lot of improvement, but that last final touch, that last finishing has been, the same story all season. And it's getting to the point that it's costing us points now, and we will suffer for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we suffer for it in the final. But the thing is, he brings so much to our game, with, as we know, with his off-the-ball runs and this and that. But if and when we get a world-class striker, I don't think, we always say a striker wouldn't come in to replace Werner, but if we go with a 3-5-2, Havertz has to be on top. And Havertz, I think, can put in a shift as that second striker. He holds the ball so well. He's like a Rolls Royce there, man. He holds the ball, everything is calm. He makes chances, and he could finish. And I will put my bet on, if any of our forward players get a chance on Saturday, it would be Havertz to put it away. Yeah. So I think that Werner, I would give him next season, obviously, to find that, goal scoring touch again, because someone doesn't score over 30 goals a season by mistake. And Bundesliga is a really good league too, so I wouldn't take excuses. And I mean, we can use that Bundesliga argument, but at the end of the day, it's just shooting. Shooting is the same in any league. So so I'll give him a chance next season, of course. I'm trying to not be too emotional right now about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it costs us on Saturday, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scores on Saturday either. That's just the nature of how it's been with him. But either way, I think that he's important to us right now, and then we can see next season if he will be replaced or not. But right now, he still brings much more than our other attackers, and he's a nuisance to every defender out there. So, I mean, I'd rather a nuisance who doesn't score in opposed to someone else who's not a nuisance and still doesn't score. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, look, you bring up a very good point that when Werner plays with a somewhat of a striker at the moment, that somewhat of a striker is Havertz for us, he's a lot more better. I feel like the combination of Werner, Pulisic, and Mount, Werner doesn't have anyone to play with, and then generally he finds himself in the middle, and I don't think that's where he likes to be. Whenever it's Havertz, he can play off Havertz, and the combination is a little bit better. So, yeah,
the thing is, like, I was really surprised with how well he played as a number 9, because he still finds himself in really good positions as a number 9 in a crowded box. Like, I'm surprised that even surrounded by huge defenders, he still gets chances. But again, he scuffs every opportunity. Every header he gets, it's gone. Every chance he gets to shoot a ball inside the box, he misses his shot or something, or he's offside. So even as a number 9, he has good position. But I do agree that, hitting crosses into the box, we've been so good on the flank recently, hitting crosses into the box with 3 short guys in Pulisic, Mount, and Werner is really discouraging, not having that focal point to aim at.
Yeah, no, agreed, man. Agreed. Something to definitely think about, as well as sometimes this combination works. We've seen it in Real Madrid first leg, but it's not always the case. And also Real Madrid second leg, we saw the Werner-Havertz combination work really well alongside Mount. Nishal, let's talk about Pulisic, man. Once again, I'm not impressed, man. This is another game where Obviously, the last one against Leicester wasn't very impressive as well. And I said, you know what, I don't want to tinker too much. Let's keep him on. And we saw him on this particular game. But now I'm finding it very difficult. But at the same time, how do you change it for the final? Do you know what I mean? Like, you want a momentum to go. But then again, I think Havertz probably has a very good chance to come in and play up front alongside Timo Werner and Mason Mount, perhaps. But this performance is, man, I just cannot back Pulisic. How are you feeling about his performance, man?
I've not been happy with Pulisic's performances for a while, and it's a shame because we've seen his quality with Chelsea at the end of last season, especially. We saw the very best of what Pulisic can offer. And there was even a period between about March and April where he really started to hit form for us, against Porto, against Real Madrid, against all these teams around that time. But he's got back into that inconsistent form, and that's what really frustrates me about him because, like Ryan was saying, he's got that physicality back and he's learning that. He's been hitting his form and he's shown what he's capable of. But this season, he's not been consistent. He's not been consistent enough, and that costs us. It cost Lampard his job. It can almost cost us top four, and that's not individual blame. Don't get me wrong. But the point is, in a general case, when we don't have consistency, we will struggle and we will falter. Today was just another prime example of where Pulisic has the opportunities to drive forward, make these runs, have these attempts on goal, but he doesn't make the most of it. He's not clinical enough. He's not disciplined enough to be able to get the crosses in, create these chances, get shots on goal. And it's wasteful and it's frustrating to watch, especially when we have so many attacking options. You ask about what do we do for the Champions League final? Honestly, drop him. We have good enough players. Bring Ziyech in. Bring Hudson-Odoi in for. We need to be cynical.
Bring Havertz, man.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, Pulisic hasn't been playing well for about a month. Arsenal, I think he made a cameo in that game, didn't particularly perform. FA Cup final, he wasn't good. Leicester in the league, that one really surprised me because while I was there, I could see every player was really G'd up and really motivated by the fans being there. But Pulisic still didn't perform. And he was one of, I think, one or two players who I was still watching and thinking, well, why isn't he at top level? Why isn't he really performing and using his motivation? So it's frustrating to watch. And truthfully, at this stage of the season where we've got a final, we can't hope, he's going to suddenly hit form in Porto. No, we have better options. We've got options who are in better form, better suited to these sort of games. And really, we have to be honest with ourselves. Do we want to risk it with, sometimes a dazzling yet inconsistent winger? Or do we turn our attention to other options on the bench? And it has to be the latter, no doubt about it.
And then just before I go to RJ about the next player, do you now somewhat understand the recent links towards Jadon Sancho and whatnot? It's starting to materialize again. I'm starting to feel there is some substance behind it because Thomas Tuchel clearly is not happy with certain things up front. We've got some exciting players, don't get me wrong, but I think he wants that clinicality. He wants those kind of players that are absolutely going to be top notch. Do you somewhat understand the Jadon Sancho sort of interest coming back?
I can see that interest, and I could see it when it came up before as well. He's a talented winger, and the main issue I have is we have three great wingers, but two of them are injury prone, and one of them is going to be entering the twilight of his career soon. So a player like Jadon Sancho, truthfully, would be perfect for us. Whether we want to spend that money, we're not going to get him cheap. We know that. They've got the extra incentive that Dortmund qualified for the Champions League again, so we may well be staying for another season. But I wouldn't complain having Sancho in. It would give us good winger options. We'd be able to be in a situation where if Pulisic's out of form, he's on the bench and we bring Sancho in. And we have that flexibility and we have those options. Whereas now, throughout the season, we've had a lot of situations where we've only really had one fit winger, where Ziyech has been injured, or Hudson-Odoi's been injured, or Pulisic's been injured. And we've been forced to keep Timo Werner out wide, bring Andrew into the squad, keep Mount out wide as well. So we need to have four options of wingers. So if we get Jadon Sancho, we go for him, I wouldn't complain. And it wouldn't be something which would keep Pulisic or keep Hudson-Odoi out, but it would just bring more competition and show them, look, if you're not going to perform, we have players who can come in and take your spot. You need to know that, and you need to be performing at a high level.
So true. So true. Chelsea perspective, thank you so much for the super chat. Absolutely. Pulisic has been awful in recent days and he's not helping his case for a starting place in the Champions League final. I think he's the one of the very first ones that are probably not going to be in the Champions League final in the starting lineup. He so far looks like he's far better coming off as an impact sub, and in recent times he's not even doing that as an impact sub. And it's really annoying when you then hear someone like Pulisic literally a few games ago saying that he's frustrated that he's not starting enough and whatnot. And now that he is, well, he hasn't put in the shift. RJ, let's talk about Mason Mount. Look, Mason Mount is the Chelsea player of the season. No problems about that. Fantastic player. But I do also have to be a bit harsh on Mace, because I feel like today that chance in the first half, right before, a few minutes, well, I think maybe 10 minutes or so before Aston Villa scored, that should have been finished. I really, look, generally I'm not overly too harsh on some of the things that he does, but today I have to be harsh on that particular chance, because I thought he was in a perfect position to put that shot away and really get that goal and put us into the front foot. And then throughout the match, I love his intensity. I love his energy. He's strong. He can control the ball. Pretty much does most things right. But I must say, especially in the FA Cup final as well, his shot was saved brilliantly by Schmeichel. You can probably say that, he hit it straight at him or whatnot. But how are you seeing Mason Mount's performance? As I said, I don't want to be too hard, but we need goals, man.
Yeah, well, it just depends. I think it gets highlighted because of the lack of goals coming in from the more natural front people. So I think when we do see Mason get on the score sheet occasionally, all of a sudden he gets rebranded as he's the go-to person for our goals, because the other players aren't stepping up where they really should be. Because let's face it, he's a bit more of an all-rounded player, and in some situations, in a different sort of setup, he's more of a box-to-box sort of midfielder who chips in with the occasional goal. But because of the new system and the way we're playing in a more advanced position, all of a sudden there's a lot more responsibility and expectation that comes with being in those more advanced positions. In terms of today, however, and it's only fair that he gets grouped in with the rest of his colleagues in the sense that they just weren't up to the mark. And in terms of the chances individually, so firstly, he started off with that ambitious shot that went wild, and that's fine because it wasn't a clear-cut chance. But then he had that second shot, which was struck very powerfully, the one where Werner laid it off on the edge of the box and he powered it. And Martinez, who's been in inspired form, held it very well. But then the chance you're talking about is the one where him and Pulisic got their wires crossed. And essentially, I thought it was even a better decision that he might not have even been the one to take the shot and let Pulisic, who obviously he might have been in a better spot, but he took responsibility for it and blasted it over. So he needs to be accountable for that. In terms of the rest of the game, I thought that he started off he was quite busy. He was linking up quite well on the right-hand side, obviously. But as the game faded on, I felt as if Villa did a very good job at stifling him. I felt like they were really not giving him much space, which I thought is very smart. He's been our best player of the season, officially speaking. So therefore, you suppress the most damaging opposing player. So they did a good job and tried to keep him very tame. I don't think he was the worst player in terms of this performance, but equally, he wasn't our most impressive player in this performance. So this is pretty much one of those situations where he's not someone that's a standout, but he's probably a middle of the pack sort of effort today. So, you know what? I think this might be. I'm trying to find some positives out of this because I'm very upset about that result. But if the only thing if the only thing I can take out of it is I think that Mason will be disappointed in himself and will come back bigger for the actual UCL final. So fingers crossed, because he was not his usual self. But it would be unfair to say here that we didn't win because he wasn't at his best. The whole team weren't at their best, and it showed. It was a collective display that wasn't good enough.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how the team wasn't at their best when it's a clutch moment. It's honestly crazy to think. Charlie Robinson, AK, winning his first league win. I mean, what a transfer from Bournemouth to Manchester City. Ruben Diaz as well comes in, wins the title, wins the Premier League, and also the what do you call it? Carling Cup? No, what's it called these days? Carabao Cup, League Cup. Yeah. So I'm a bit surprised. Didn't AK win anything with us? I'm just confused that he's been
second league
FA Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be because he's been with us for so long since as a youngster. He's still quite young as well, and then I'm a bit surprised. So he definitely has won something. So Nishal, did you say that's his second league that he's won, Nathan Ake?
Second, because he was in the 16-17 league when it scored.
Exactly. Thought so. Taryn, let's talk about the double sixes, Jorginho and Kovacic. I don't know. Here's the thing. This is a game where I needed them to really stand up, control Aston Villa, box them in, press, counter-press, pump in the passes, allow the forwards to create chaos. But it's like they got absolutely hustled by Aston Villa press. They got hustled. McGinn, Bertrand Traore, Grealish. They really honed in on these couple of players. There was a opportunity that Aston Villa had in the first half before they scored, where Jorginho, let's be honest, probably was a bit of a hospital pass to Kovacic, and Kovacic was dispossessed, and McGinn was clear on sight, and I thought that was going to go in. Luckily, that didn't go in. But I like this pivot, I really do. Nishal has always mentioned in this channel how this pivot is fantastic, but it's not perfect. This pivot is not perfect. We need to appreciate the fact that it's not perfect. There is chinks in the armor. First of all, Kante, definitely for you, comes back into the Champions League final. I think that's a given.
Mm-hmm.
But who partners him is the first question. And the second question, do you 100% want a DM next season?
Okay, to partner him in the final, I think I'm going to go Jorginho. Even though he was poor today, Kovacic, obviously, you can't expect full pace, 100% Kovacic. He's come back from a serious hamstring, not serious, but quite a severe hamstring injury. He's just played. He was thrown in against Leicester City in a really intense game and was forced to play this. He was forced to play a really intense game today against McGinn and Nakamba, who played really well. So I'll probably go Jorginho. He has the experience, even though that penalty, I do think it was a little bit harsh. It's just me. I think he just kind of maybe Bertrand Traore made a lot of it, but in the Premier League these days, you don't really know what they're giving it for. They'll look for any little bit of contact and give it. So I'll probably go Jorginho. Kante, I think it's obvious to see when Kante isn't playing, we look really poor. If you look back to the Arsenal game when we lost 1-0, I believe Gilmour and Jorginho started that game. If you guys can correct me, I'm pretty sure. And it just didn't look the same without N'Golo Kante. He's a world-class, World Cup winning, double Premier League winning midfielder. And you can't look past it in this team. When he doesn't start, it makes a big difference. The intensity you press at, the guy who's going to run in the 95th minute despite playing the whole game, who has a full tank, even though sometimes he gets little injuries here there. But I think it was a clear difference. Jorginho and Kovacic, I'd say they're good midfield pivot, but they're not a title-winning pivot. They're just not as simple as that.
And we've said it many times in this channel that they're not a title-winning pivot.
100%. That's kind of my point. Today, the thing about Jorginho and Kovacic you see is their chemistry is always really good. They know where each other are. They can play little passes to the midfield and rip teams open with their chemistry. But when it doesn't happen, when McGinn is acting like prime, I don't even know today, like Patrick Vieira, ripping through us, powering everyone down, running through, then it's just not going to work. Nakamba, who had a very good game today, when these two are contained and stop with their link-up, I don't think they provide much at all to the team. No penetration, no end product, meaning penalties from Jorginho. Not much. So it's hard to see when they're not playing well. It affects our team. The middle of the pitch is where everything is controlled. It's engine room. We create play through there mostly under Thomas Tuchel.
No assists, no goals, bro. No assists, no goals.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's really bad. And the question you asked me about a DM, 100%. I've always said it on this channel. We need a DM. And as simple as that. Yes, Jorginho is a player who can win the ball back occasionally, push the play. But we need someone full action field who can defend really well, screen the backline, protect the defense, but also progress the ball forward like Pierre Mohojbjerg, someone similar to that. And that's why I was doing a bit of research on Tchouameni recently after the preview we did when the question came in. And he looks like a really promising player from what I've seen. It's just the kind of factor of league and can he kind of adapt? He's 21 years old. Can he be that guy we need, the kind of gladiator? But look at Wesley Fofana. He was signed by St Etienne. He's came into Leicester and he's shocked everyone by how good he's been. He looks like a 28-year-old composed Premier League centre-back, in my opinion. And I think Tchouameni could have that impact. So, I think 100% the priority area next year should be a DM and a striker. Maybe striker a little bit more, I'm not quite sure. But DM should definitely be looked at, whether it's Declan Rice, Tchouameni, Zakaria, Frank Yannick Kessie, something like that. That should be a priority area in our team. We're so weak in that area. When one gets injured, we have 4 players who, yes, they're good. Kante obviously is the best. They're good enough to win titles, take chances where we want to be right now. No, and that's why we're sitting in the Premier League top 4 at the minute and not in the Premier League title race. It's because of some players in our team and some link-ups. So that's kind of my opinion on the DM situation.
Nah, man, fair enough. Ryan, I do want to hear from you from the tactical point of view about these double pivot and why sometimes this combination of Jorginho and Kovacic, as we saw today, can look a bit shady. It has looked shady in previous matches as well. And then there are certain matches we've looked fantastic with them. But I think the bottom line, what I'm trying to say, and then what Taryn is saying is we need something different. We need something different in that midfield. A very combative sort of defensive midfielder who's capable of sitting deep and allowing maybe the other defensive midfielder or the other midfielder, center midfielder to go up and down, be box to box. But what's your thoughts about this double pivot, man, Ryan?
I mean, when I think about Jorginho and Kovacic, I agree that they have so much chemistry. And I think sometimes that can be a fault because they'll have a bit of overconfidence in each other to pass it in too tight areas to get out. I feel like when Kante and Jorginho is there, we keep it simple. We create our diamond on the side, we build play through there, and we get it out as fast as possible. With Jorginho and Kovacic, you have a tendency to try to build play through the center of the pitch because they are so good in tight spaces. But as you see, they can easily get dispossessed if things don't go right. It's a lot riskier rather than building play through a diamond on the wing. Another thing is that Jorginho was a bit exposed today, but I honestly feel that's because I really would like a true defender covering him at right centre back. I would love a Christensen to cover him because we know he's limited. We don't want Jorginho to be stuck out because we see Reece James at RCB has a tendency to roam forward. You can see like the right back instincts are to kick in. But I really like Christensen back there because he has a natural centre back instinct where he could cover Jorginho and Jorginho could stick to do his job only, which is horizontal defending. Yeah,
because Christensen's a lot closer to Jorginho.
Yeah, right behind him. He's right behind him always. Whereas I feel like Reece James tucks into that right back mentality and he goes forward out of position, leaving Jorginho a bit exposed. One can argue, well, we should get a DM like Rice because he wouldn't be exposed if he's left in that position. I agree, but right now we have a final to think about. You know what I mean? So we need to think about what can we do with these players here. And next thing, Jorginho has been fantastic for us, and I feel like right now having Kovacic and Kante, I think they only played 3 games together on the Tuchel. Am I right or wrong? 2 or 3 games together.
Something like that. Yeah.
For that to happen, they need to have chemistry to know when one is going to drop into their register and when is one going to be like a connector roaming CM. Because both of them can drop into a register maybe for one build-up play, and both of them can roam up top. So we will need a lot of games for that chemistry and understanding to build between both of them to know when one drops, the other one goes up. When the next one drops, another one goes up. I feel like with Jorginho there's an understanding that he's our register and he's there alongside our RCB and our right wing back. And I feel like it has to be either Kante or Kovacic, but I feel like Jorginho has to start because right now in our final game, we need to go with what has worked in the past 2 months for us. I mean, we can't be second guessing, we can't be changing, we can't be doing all this and that. So as of right now, I will go with Jorginho and Kante, and I'll be with Christensen as RCB alongside Azpilicueta, who's done blew my mind. He blows my mind at RWB. I don't know how, but that's going to be our next topic or our topic after when we get to him.
Yeah, man, I have to say, we will definitely get to the Azpilicueta situation. Going forward, Aspi looks so good in terms of giving us that width, and he's produced some really good crosses as well. Some probably should have been put away, but then, moving back, there were times in the second half where he was absolutely gassed. You could see that his energy was sapping out, the speed was getting to him, and then obviously got himself the red card, which we'll talk about. But I have to agree with you boys so far in the sense that Kante and Jorginho probably is Jorginho. He's probably going to sit deep, and then Kante will go box to box. If you both have Kovacic and Kante, that chemistry has to be that whoever goes up, then the other one has to be disciplined. We have seen performances where Kante and Kovacic has worked, but as you said, Ryan, is it a big gamble to take in the final game? We should probably move into something that we know. So it kind of makes sense. Declare, thank you so much once again for a super chat. Rice can play CB and solo DM. What a bargain. Yeah, man, Thomas Tuchel's interested with Rice as well. So watch this space. It's going to be a lot of talk about transfer markets this season. By the way, just quickly, who made the Europa League spot? Did Spurs make? Who came? Oh, Leicester. It'll be Leicester, right?
Yeah, Leicester, West Ham, and Tottenham in the Europa Conference League.
Wow. Nishal, let's talk about now Ben Chilwell, the left wing back. Once again, a really good performance. Got himself the goal. I tweeted something saying the best striker that Chelsea has at the moment, Ben Chilwell. He got himself into those sort of positions quite a few times, actually. There was another one right after he scored. Again, he took a shot from that wide angle, and it was brilliantly saved, whether it was saved by Martinez or a defender, I can't quite remember. He really could have got himself back into a 2-2 situation. But time in, time out, we're starting to now see him really attack that far post, and he's starting to understand the whole wing-back situation. He's now producing goals as well. He's giving assists. This has been truly a very good story for this season. There's been quite a few great stories. Obviously, we top 4 from where we were. Thomas Tuchel, the way, switching into the back 3. But one big story that I want to highlight is the Ben Chilwell story. A lot of things have been talked about, £50 million, so on and so forth. But he's come out as one of the better players in the Premier League altogether, not just Chelsea, but I think in the Premier League he's one of the better players. What do you think about his performance in this particular match?
Well, he's had a brilliant season. I can take my hat off to that. Big price tag, had to change managers, and pretty much lost the spot to Marcos Alonso as well. So he's done really well to come in and have a great season. But I wouldn't laud his performance so much today. I wasn't too impressed with his first half performance. There were a few times where he was getting bullied on the left-hand side, losing the ball. We had an incident quite early on where he tried to cross the ball, and with his touch trying to set himself up, it went out for a goal kick. Those little incidents, I wasn't very happy with his first half performance. Second half, much better. We talk about his late runs. We've seen it from Pulisic, and we've seen it a lot more from Chilwell, making those darting runs in round the back post and into that space. And very often it's paid off for him. And that's why he's getting the goals. And today, really good ball in from Pulisic as well, and a great finish from Chilwell. And while it didn't, make a difference in the result itself, it definitely gave us more breathing space and more assurance that we were still in the game. We were still in a position where we could get something from it and secure our place in the Champions League. So his second half was much better, and attacking-wise, he did improve. First half wasn't as good. We've seen those contrasts throughout the season, throughout the game. But look, as a whole, this season, yes, I know we're not finished yet, but it has been a good debut season for Ben Chilwell, because we've spoken about our left-back dilemma for so long. We're not since Ashley Cole have we had a good, consistent left-back. And to have someone like Chilwell, who may not be on the same level as Ashley Cole, certainly not yet, at least, he is someone who is filling that hole, really performing for us and giving us a good option on that left flank. And especially when, Emerson looks like he'll be finally moving on in the summer. Marcos Alonso is going to be 31 this year, so he can be someone we can focus on having as a reserve left back. But Chilwell will only get better from it. We've seen the weaknesses of his game, and we've seen them being ironed out and removed throughout the season. So I'm very optimistic for what we'll see in Chilwell's development over the next few years. He'll deservedly earn his place in the Euro 2020 squad for England. Whether it'll be over Luke Shaw or not, I'm not sure, and I don't think he should be. But he can be very happy with how his debut season's gone so far, and he can be pleased with how he's installed himself into this Chelsea setup.
Oh, for sure, man. And it's a testament of a very good player when you don't play a very good half and then come back in the second half and produce a totally opposite half where, you stand out as a main player for your team. So he looked like the only player that was going to score for us. He was the one that was bringing all the threat from that left side. So kudos to Chilwell, once again, a fantastic performance. And he's probably one player we can all agree, put yourself down for that Champions League final, mate. You're 100% starting at the moment. So there is absolutely no doubt about that. RJ, let's talk about Azpilicueta. I've had a lot of conversations with my people in this particular channel, my subscribers. First of all, shout out to almost 100 people. Please smash the like button if you're enjoying the review. Take the opportunity right now to hit that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. It helps the video. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. And also, as you can see in the banner today, that there is the Chelsea jersey shirt offer, 50% off. all the information's in the description right now. So get yourself a jersey. I've got myself 2 jerseys. Amazing. Taryn got himself a Timo Werner one, which I got him recently. So Taryn, just quickly show us that so that the fans can just have a quick look at it, man, while we sort of get ready to talk about Azpilicueta.
Look at his smile. Look how excited he is to show it.
Watch out, I'm wearing my white seats.
I recently got Taryn a Timo Werner jersey from this particular mob that's putting the promotion.
It's really
As
good.
you can see, it's an awesome kid. Get yourself one, guys. It's a very, very reasonable price as well. So go out there and do that. RJ, let's talk about Azpilicueta. As I said, we've been talking a lot about Azpilicueta in this channel. I think the future, I don't know if Azpilicueta is a right wing back for us in the long run, because I can't imagine, because it is a demanding position where you have to be up and down. You got to provide the width and provide assists and goals as well, just the way Chilwell is doing. But at the same time, you have to drop deep and defend. And I just don't know that Azpilicueta has those legs moving forward next season. Yes, he definitely starts in the Champions League final. The captain will start. But you know, it does pose a question. If we maintain this particular formation, we do need something different. Even if we don't maintain this formation, we revert back to 4. Azpilicueta is probably, not the one that will end up being the right back. So first of all, talk to me about his performance this game. Obviously got himself that red card, which I thought was soft. I don't know if he was really he wasn't really going for a hit on Grealish, and obviously Grealish did his level best. But talk to me about the performance that he's had this match and also the future for Azpilicueta.
Yeah, I felt overall like most of the first half, I felt we started off brightly enough and we had some positivity, and I thought he was quite busy. And I think that's one thing that I really appreciate what he does bring to this young team, is the fact that in such a demanding position in that wing back spot, because like you said, you have to provide the width, but it's a lot of forward and back. It's very demanding. And what I love about him is the fact that he does bring that tenacity. He is someone that's going to leave it all out there. But at the same time, given how demanding that position can be, I do wonder at times whether or not, as the game starts to phase out and the minutes start counting down, his effectiveness starts to become less and less, or becomes more diminished, because the fatigue element starts catching up with him. And I think when you see that decision at the end, it was a bit of frustration, but some of that's just down to fatigue and decision making, because he's just a frustrated captain trying to help his team. In terms of the red card itself, look, by technical means, it's a red card. He's struck out at someone. He's got to be smarter than that. Grealish was fouling him. He got away with a few very, very very terrible sort of challenges, particularly that slide tackle in the first half. It's only because Mason Mount jumped to evade that. That could have been a lot worse. And I dare say, had Mason kept his foot on the ground, that would have been a red card.
If there was contact.
100%. But because Mason did the right thing and didn't want to get himself injured before the biggest game of his club career today, he evaded it. And I felt there were some questionable decisions there on Grealish in particular. But to his credit, he played the game well. I mean, Grealish, that is, and he suckered Azpilicueta to make that foul on him, because that was also a cynical challenge on him when he was trying to get the ball out. He clipped him on the back, and it was a nasty little tackle, and that's why he's flung out at him. He should have been smarter, but it is what it is. He quickly ran off the field. Overall, I don't think he's someone that's going to be a permanent wing-back starter for us going forward, just because but I wonder if that's even the system we're going to go, Miz. And I'm sure the panel has their own view on it. I don't know if that's what we're going to stick with going forward. I pretty much saw this as a stopgap, and that was my view before the season's ended anyway. If we do, for argument's sake, we do stick with this system, and he says, okay, don't fix what's not broken, I just think that Cesar is someone that's going to be a player that Tuchel will continue to rely on, but just not rely on consistently game in, game out. I think he will appreciate the versatility he brings, and he'll probably look to interchange in that RCB spot and right wing back spot. But overall, I just don't see him being a 38-game Premier League season player and hopefully a double digits Champions League player. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. It's just way too demanding, man. And then what's Azpilicueta at the moment? 31, 32, something like that. Yeah, you're right, wing back. You can already see every time the second half comes around, he's absolutely knackered, man. He's knackered. Against Real Madrid as well, I remember Farlan Mendy at the end was really driving hard on him, and he had to be taken off Azpilicueta because Tuchel was worried about the pace and his fatigue. Unais Ahmed, think Livramento comes into the squad next year. Yeah, this is a bit of a shout. Look, I don't know whether he's going to start. I very, very doubt he'll start. I still think a loan move is very good. Just the way Mark Geehee has worked out so brilliantly in Swansea. He looks like a brilliant player all up already. And I think that whole loan has done him very well. I think Livramento probably needs a loan as well now. But yeah, it is interesting. If we continue with the right wing back position, then we definitely need, something happening in the right wing back spot, because I'm not completely sold yet with Reece James. Maybe he can probably develop into that, but I'm not entirely sure. And Azpilicueta, the long-term future, I'm not really sure. Taryn, let's talk about the back three, but more importantly, let's talk about Reece James, because I think Thiago Silva and Rudiger were pretty good. Not too much to talk about them. They were generally very good. They're experienced players. The one inexperienced player is Reece James in that back three. I don't want to be too harsh, but there were a few times he just gave away the ball too cheaply when he was in the back three, and then he moved into the double sixes when matters got too crazy. And there was once again cheap passes that were getting given away by Reece James. And this is the thing I want to say to the fan base. The fan base is always crying for all of these youngsters to come into the team. It's very important to have a good balance, because you can't just flood all these youngsters in. You could see someone like Reece James, as much as this particular game mattered a lot for everyone, but they just don't have that experience in this particular scenario. Do you know what I mean? Like someone like Thiago Silva or Rudiger, they just know what that experience. They just know they've been in these sort of situations. They know how to get out of it. Whereas someone like Reece James, I just feel like it could get a bit overwhelming in these sort of situations. Moving forward, I suppose, talk to me about his performance this game, but moving forward next season, if we do play the three at the back, where is his best position?
In the first half, I thought Grealish, the first 5-10 minutes, Grealish and Watkins were getting the better of him a lot of times. He was leaving a lot of space in between him and Thiago Silva. And I think if that's Azpilicueta on the right centre-back role, maybe we don't see that as much because he has that experience reading of the game. But Reece James is 21 years old. You can't expect him to read every single ball. But then look, we're Chelsea Football Club. We need players in that role. We need the best players at all times on the pitch to kind of read play. And the thing about James, I think, with Azpilicueta on the right is that in build-up play, usually we'll have Azpi in the right centre-back role. I think he's very composed on the ball. He can alleviate pressure a lot. And yes, Reece James is very composed and he's strong, but I don't think he's as composed on the ball as Azpilicueta at times. And that's just my opinion. I think Azpi has the experience of playing in the Premier League for so many years. He knows when to step out, when to maybe engage, when to pass the ball, when to hold, or when to pass backwards. And that will definitely develop with Reece James. He's already amazing for his age. Azpilicueta was 24 when he joined Chelsea, and he was definitely not as good as Reece James was when he was 21. So, yeah, Reece James will develop into that. But I thought when he went into CDM, I actually thought he did a really good job. He was always showing for the ball. He looked like a natural DM to me. He looked similar to Wilfred Ndidi. He was so strong on the ball, trying to progress forward. And I think he did better than Jorginho and Kovacic, in my opinion. When he went DM, teams couldn't really power, use McGinn. McGinn wasn't as effective when Reece James, when they couldn't use his power. The Campbell was still as good as ever. He was amazing this game. But I thought he was actually, it really changed the game, in my opinion, when he went DM.
In Wigan, the season where he was in loan in Wigan,
Wigan.
The last few matches of that season, he played as a DM, a lone DM for Wigan, and he actually did pretty well there. And I've always advocated that Reece James could be far greater than just a right back or a right-sided player. And that's why I always wanted Tariq Lamptey to stay in the team, because I thought he could have been the right back for us. And then Reece James becomes like a midfield player for us. Do you sort of fancy Reece James in the future? Maybe be a sort of defensive midfielder. He is quite good on the ball. It's not like he's bad with the ball.
I think, Yeah, I can definitely see it 100%. Like I said today, it was a good audition for him in a really high-paced game, even though we lost 2-1 in the end. I thought he was like a marshal, a midfield general in the middle, like controlling the play. It wasn't like people exposing him and trying to press him high. Even though they're pressing him, he was still using his strength to evade them and get around them and try and build up. And I think in the system, you think, what's the best thing about Reece James? Usually his crossing. That's what you thought from last season. He doesn't really have the opportunity to do that anymore in the right wing-back role. We don't tend to cross as much. We tend to play through the middle. We tend to, play quick passing. That's what we try to do. We don't try and, always try to cross the ball. We don't have a target man on the pitch. So when Reece James is on the right wing-back role, we don't see his best attributes. When he's in the middle, he can use his strength. He can use his pace. He can use recovery pace. He can use his quiet composure on the ball, his passing. And I think it could be something in the future. And Tuchel obviously must see it as an option. In such an intense moment of the game, we were losing 2-0. We needed a change. He changed his system and put Reece James DM. I think that speaks a lot for itself. And in the future, if we see this a lot, I won't be complaining. Maybe in the summer, Tuchel can develop him into that, try and work him in friendlies. Maybe, we have them pre-season friendlies. Tuchel can kind of play him there. And yeah, like you said, he played there at Wigan. That's the Championship, unfortunately. And in the Premier League, it's different. But it's the same position. He must know the role. And I think it's just about developing into that role a little bit more, maybe pre-season, maybe at the start of next season in Carabao Cup games, FA Cup games, and then we could see Reece James in DM. But I still think his best role is right back, in my opinion, not right wing back, not DM, just in the playing right back, like 4-3-3 when he can get forward, he can defend, and that. But I think DM is definitely an option for James, and I think he really changed the game when he went DM.
Yeah, no, fair point. Ryan, I do want to now talk to you about the whole Reece James and Azpilicueta situation. I don't know, man. I didn't mind one bit when Azpilicueta was right centre back and Reece James was right wing back. I thought they understood each other very well. They understood the passing sequence. I thought Azpilicueta is very much astute defender in the right centre back position. Yeah, Reece doesn't provide us that much up front, and this is what Thomas Tuchel has mentioned. And we've already seen Azpilicueta is far more adventurous going forward, and these are the exact words that Thomas Tuchel has said. But I still feel give the green lights to Reece to do that. Give Reece the authority to go out there and run havoc on the right side. Are you happy with this at the moment, or do you revert back to Azpilicueta being in the right centre back, Reece James into the right wing back in the final for the Champions League?
Well, that's two questions, because one is on the final and then one is to think about next season. But for the final, I think that for the past 3 games, Azpilicueta has been doing a phenomenal job at right wing back. I think that we need to think about this logically too, because if we have Kante there, if we're counter-attacking, we don't expect Azpilicueta to run from that position, get up top to the box. No, he can sit back as an inverted wing back and allow Kante to go up. That's what we've seen against Real Madrid. However, in times that they set up a low block against us, Azpilicueta is really quick within 5 to 10 yards. We don't want him to run 30 yards like Hudson-Odoi or Hakimi or anything to get him behind. No, but in a low block, we can allow Azpi to be that overlapping wing back, because he can bring that width that can allow us to create chances and get crosses in behind. So I think that with a player like Azpi, we can conserve his energy like that. We have Kante who can take that central midfielder role and roam up top, while Azpi stay back with Jorginho and be defensive with us. So that's what I would do for the final, and also with Christensen giving protection to Jorginho and Azpilicueta, because I feel like when Reece James is at right centre back, Azpi needs to have an extra eye open for Reece James and cover him. How many times we've seen that Reece James is out of position and Azpi had to head back in deep to defend, and sometimes you don't really. Azpi wouldn't have to do that if Christensen was there, for example. Another thing with Reece James and his best position, I don't like him as central defensive mid or a lone central defensive midfielder, because yes, when he's not pressed, he can use his power to be like a Rolls Royce and find those passes or maybe shoot. But when we are pressed high, we need a player who is specialized in knowing width to make himself available to our back 4, back 3, or back 2, or whatever, and that's where a player like Jorginho comes into play. So I don't know any other Eriksen for Inter Milan is doing that right now. He's playing a new register role there, and he makes himself always available, always have the perfect angle to receive a pass, not under pressure. I think that's something Gilmore and Reece James would have to learn. We can't just put him in to start there. He needs to learn that position. But there's a way to get Reece James to have his midfield contribution as an inverted wing back. Why not be an inverted wing back? We have a player in Callum Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi could be a wide winger up front. So we wouldn't need somebody to overlap if Hudson-Odoi is a wide winger up front. Like Pulisic, he's more playing an inverted right winger role. But if we have a Hudson-Odoi up there who can play as a wide winger, we can use Reece James as an inverted right wing back, and he can dominate from midfield. He can send in those crosses, and he could get back to defend while having defensive cover from a right centre back like a Christensen, and having Jorginho, our next person around him. So I think there's ways to find the best. I think there's ways to find the best possible outcome for Reece James. I think that Reece James is a wonderful player, and we should not forget the fact how good he was overlapping also when he was a right back. When he was a right back, he overlapped really good, but it's not only at looking at one player if he can overlap, it's to look at the spaces there is to overlap, and what would it take with the people surrounding Reece James to do to allow him to overlap. Sometimes when you have Kante pushing into the box, we can't have Reece James overlapping. You know what I mean? But this time Kovacic does not get in around the box, edge of the box. Kovacic is more, he would drift up front, but he would just play that pass in between the lines and stay there. Whereas Kante would get full forward and try to shoot. So it's a different dynamic. It's all about what other players is doing and keeping that five at the back. You know what I mean? So I think that next season, if we're looking at it, there's a lot of possibilities we can do because we have players. But I will always say, in that back three, I would want our left centre back and our right centre back to be a hybrid of a right back and a centre back, like a Alaba. That's something that Rudiger, he played right back, or I don't know, he played on that role when he was in Roma for a few games. All might laugh at me, but I think his position was right back or something in FIFA like 15 or something. So that's how I remember that. But he has that experience in that position. Also Christensen, you can see he is a bit of a hybrid. He can play a right back, he can play centre back. So it's so important when you have a five at the back. When one wing back goes to press on top, we need to have the other wing back look in and say, okay, I'll track back to make a back four to prevent any other runs. And the thing is, when that other wing back goes into a back four, we don't want a Reece James or Azpilicueta being a centre back, because they'll get eaten alive from crosses or things like that. And that's one thing we saw that was weak with Azpi. Is amazing in build-up as a right centre-back. Being the base of that passing diamond, he's amazing there. I think his position is really good, and he build play really good there. But when we were forced to have a back four, when Chilwell roamed or Alonso roamed on the other side, we saw that when Azpi went into that right centre-back role, which is in a back four, so in a back two, basically, when crosses came in, we saw people jumping over Azpi and getting those headers in. And then we saw Reece James losing track of runners wide far post also. But that's why I think that having Christensen there, or a true centre-back as a RCB in a back three, would help us massively. And I think that Real Madrid second leg lineup should be our lineup for the final, because that's a perfect lineup, I think.
Nah. I have to agree. I have to say, I can't stop laughing what Taryn just wrote in the private chat. Guys, you may not know, or some might have noticed, Declared has noticed that Nishal was falling asleep. and some of the guys have been just writing in the private chat. It's been quite funny, but I think it's been a very, very long day for Nishal. It's just a bit tired. Nishal, let's get you in. But yeah, I completely understood, man. Ryan, in terms of the whole chemistry on that right centre back and right wing back position. Nishal, let's get you all nice and working up. Yeah. Mendy, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know what happened, man. I'm not sure if you guys saw. Oh, what?
Yeah,
Kepa's injured as well.
Post. No, sorry. I was saying for Mendy, because they both played. But for Mendy, it was when Bertrand Traore scored and he went to try save and he collided into the post. So I don't think it's a serious injury. And most
it shouldn't be serious.
A bruised rib. I don't even think it's a bruised rib, to be honest. But that's the absolute most. I think he'll be fine, to be honest.
I hope he's fine, man. I can't go into that final without Mendy, man. I really hope he's ready for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit about Mendy news. You guys wanted to know. Honestly, there was not much to say about Mendy in that match again. Don't think he did anything wrong. Penalty was given by Jorginho. Well, Kepa was even on that time, so it wasn't even Mendy. And in the first half, the shot from Bertrand Traore, really can't save that. That was hit so nicely on the corner. I just imagine if it hadn't been Kepa, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have said, "Oh, Mendy would have saved that. Mendy would have saved that." Well, there you go, mate. Mendy didn't save that. Sometimes it's just too difficult to save such situations. Nishant, it is what it is. That match happened. Wasn't the greatest way to finish our season off. We got ourselves the top four. Obviously, we'll do a full review of the season once the Champions League is over. We'll get the boys here and we'll talk about it, player performances, ratings, and all that. I'm not going to do it right now, but yeah, moving into the Champions League final. Obviously, we've got the week off. How are you feeling? How are you feeling overall? Like with what has transpired recently? I'm a bit down. I gotta say, I'm a bit down with the FA Cup. I'm a bit down how we played against Arsenal. I'm also down today that we didn't win ourselves to get into top four. We had to get Spurs to help us out. I don't know, man. I'm feeling a bit strange against Man City moving into the final because I know they're so desperate to win this. What's your thoughts, man? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay about the final. It's mixed emotions as we've gone on throughout May and throughout recent months. After the FA Cup final, there's a lot of pessimism and a lot of concern. If we play like that, if we play how we did against Leicester in the Champions League final, we're dusted. We're finished. But I'm still confident. We've still beaten City twice this season. We've still played well this season. We've been brilliant in Europe. So I can understand, naturally we're going to be concerned because from what we've seen recently, we've seen poor performances against Villa, poor performances against Arsenal, poor performance in the FA Cup final. So naturally we can be worried, we can be concerned. But like I've said, we've seen it with players, we've seen it with managers, we've seen it with a team as a whole. We see the best and the very worst. And I think we will see the best form of Chelsea because it's not often we get this chance. It's 9 years since we last reached the final. It's only our third Champions League final. And when you put it into context, it's a big chance and it's one where we're not going to let slip. So I am still confident. I do think we can get a result, and we've got the time to prepare for. That's what I'm really looking forward to. We've got 4 full days at Cobham. We'll travel on a Friday. We'll have good relax and then the relaxed day. And then Saturday itself, we've got a whole day to really focus, be concentrated.
And then Portugal's not far, right? Like Portugal's not that far.
2.5 hours. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm not too concerned. I think if we do see what we saw today, naturally, yes, of course, I'd be worried and we wouldn't want to see something similar. But we played well. We're in the Champions League final for a reason. We haven't scraped our way through. We haven't been lucky every step of the way. We haven't been playing awfully in every game. If anything, in every single round, we've played so well, and we are deserved finalists. So we can have confidence in our ability and in our quality to be in the final. It will be a nervous game. It will be a really stressful week ahead. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm still confident for it.
No, fair enough. RJ, my boy, how you feeling? Obviously, a big week coming up. We're going to have plenty of streams. I'm pretty sure you're going to be participating in some of them as well, preview as well. Talk to me about your feelings moving into this big game, man.
Yeah, it's mixed emotions. I'm not going to lie. You know me, Miz, and the guys here. I'm a pretty naturally optimistic kind of guy, but I'm going to approach this contest with cautious optimism because on one hand, I feel we haven't had the best form leading up to arguably the biggest game in a decade for our club, and we have to be real and balanced about that. But that said, we do have an opportunity to make some further history for our club. And we also, along this path, particularly in the Champions League, the narrative today has been quite rewarding for us. And it's been quite a story since Tuchel's come in, even predating Tuchel with Lampard. Our Champions League experience this season has been pretty flawless. We've been very well, and this is the tournament that's capturing our attention for now. So I do have enough confidence in me that we've demonstrated in this competition that we know how to turn up. We have beaten the big teams along the journey because I have heard some views that we've kind of had a favourable draw to get here and we haven't really earned it on merit. But I dismiss that because to get to this stage of the season, there's enough safeguards in place to prevent the those that aren't good enough to reach here. We are good enough. We deserve our spot. Now it's up to us to take
We've beaten Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, and Porto beat Juventus.
Exactly. We topped our group. Exactly.
Yeah, 3 top teams to get through to the finals, man. It's definitely not easy.
Some will try to dismiss that, saying, "Oh, the Spanish opposition weren't that good this season." But at the end of the day, there's still powerhouse clubs, and say what you will, but we dismantled them on our way to the top here. And also looking at our opponents, the Premier League winners, our last 2 games we've beaten them. That's a fact. We have beaten the Premier League champions, the UCL finalists. So now we just got to have like our sponsor shirts. 3. It's the 3rd time. We've got to make it happen here. We've got to make this real. Exactly, the 3-peat. We've got to make our shirt sponsor happy. And at the end of the day, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic because I do believe we can get the job done. They are different. People will say, but you've lost to West Brom, you've lost to Aston Villa. That's all put aside now, because the only one constant we've showed is that when it's a big game we're against a big team, we generally deliver. So I'm hanging on that. Yes, we lost the FA Cup final in some very controversial circumstances. I'll leave it at that. But overall, we know how to get the job done against the big team. So I'm banking on Tuchel to channel in that inner hunger and get the job done against the odds, because that's what we do here at Chelsea.
Brilliant. Brent Smith, thank you heaps for the super chat once again. Will they play a low block against us? I don't see Pep changing too much given his history. Big up, guys. Thanks for the content. First of all, thank you heaps, Brent. I don't think they're going to play the low block, man. Man City don't play low blocks. They only know one way to play. That is with the ball and come hard at you and just pile on attacks after attacks after attacks. That's all they know what to do. That's the only way I'm thinking they're going to go at us. But this type of football sometimes works for us because we are very, very good in the counter. The thing is, we have to finish. But as the boys have said, past 2 matches, we have finished it with Man City, and we've done a good job. Taryn, you're the one who has been very, very optimistic throughout this particular session in the review. Let's be honest. If you look at the objectives list, Thomas Tuchel has got the top 4. This is why he was brought in. He's got the top 4. So tick. FA Cup probably should have won that. We really should have won. We were a better team. We saw in the next game against Leicester in the Premier League, we are the better team. We didn't get that, so that's probably a cross on him. Champions League final, we probably didn't expect to be in the final, where we were. So he got us into the final, which is fantastic. So another tick mark. If he wins it, well, it becomes a legendary season, to be honest, again. How you feeling moving into this final now? Big week coming up, man. We're going to have a lot of content together.
Yeah, it's going to be a big week. I'm excited for the content, as you've got me excited from all the big enough for the content. It better be good. But Margin and Nishal and Ryan have put it perfectly that, we beat Man City twice, and that's what's hopeful. We've been in, ropey form the last 4 or 5 games, but we beat the team we're playing. I think that's a lot safer ourselves. And not just, lucky, Marcus on a goal. We deserve to win that game if you take away the Aguero chance. We deserve to win the game in the FA Cup where Ziyech scored. And we beat them comprehensively. So I think we should be confident. I think Tuchel knows how to get the better of Guardiola. We've seen that we can maybe absorb the pressure a little bit and expose the wing-backs when they kind of go forward, go into midfield, to leave a bit of space out wide. And they play a very high line, which is suits some of our players. So I think it is there for the taking. It is a little bit worrying that we're not going in as much momentum as we did in that game against Man City earlier. Both of the games when we were in, hot form, we were beating teams left, right, centre. We went into them games with a lot of confidence. But now, we have to come out of this kind of poor spell and just go all guns blazing, be confident in our ability. We've shown that we can beat them. Just trying to forget about the end of season form. That can happen, a fatigue, mental fatigue, physical fatigue can happen in players after a very demanding second half of the season. There's been a game every 3 days. We need to go into this game with a week break. We have time to maybe Tuchel will give the players a rest day tomorrow, and then the preparation is going to start. We're going to have time to properly dissect our last 2 games against Man City, what we did well, what we didn't do so well. There was a spell in the second half of the second game where we literally capitulated basically, and we can maybe work on that to try and stop that from happening. And then we can go into this game with a lot of confidence. This game is a bit of a sour note to a somewhat positive second half of the season. And let's go into this game with, I say, less pressure, but it's not always a great thing going into a less pressure. You need to have something to play for. In that final, hopefully the players have enough incentive to go into their first ever Champions League final with, a big trophy to fight for. They've already achieved their goal, but this is a massive trophy. This is going to be one of the biggest moments in a lot of these fans watching, a lot of these players' careers. So let's go into it with a lot of positive energy, all good vibes, and let's beat this Pep Guardiola team for the third time. And as RJ said, where's the shirt? I need to get the shirt out. The 3 sponsor, it is number 3. We roll around here.
3P.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go out and win, and we deserve to win if we do. Tuchel's done an amazing job at this club, and I know it's been a poor end to the season, but he's done wonders. We were 10th in the league, 6 points off top 4, in a really bad position. We didn't look like being Atletico Madrid, and now we're in top 4. I'd say we're not favourites in the final, but people are writing us off completely. They're saying, yeah, Chelsea can definitely beat Man City. So I have to give a lot of credit to Thomas Tuchel for what he's done for this club. And yeah, he's done. I'm really looking forward to next season, to be honest, with Tuchel. But yeah, I think we should win that game.
As I've said, and you boys have all mentioned, the objective has been met in terms of getting into top 4 and getting into the Champions League. That was the objective for this season. It will not be the objective always. Do you know what I mean? Like next season, we have to be challenging for the title. It can't just be, just make it to top 4, because that's not what we just do here. It will have to be, you've got to challenge for the Premier League title, and you've got to be challenging for the domestic cups as well, and you've got to be up there in the Champions League. Ryan, we generally thrive as the underdog, and I'm kind of okay with this. I feel like the boys, our players, thrive under the underdog tag. Whenever it's sort of like we need to win, they generally don't show up. We've seen over the last few games. But from that instance, I'm a bit okay with that the underdog tag works with us, and we've beaten Man City with that tag over the last couple of games. I've got no doubt that we'll bring the game. How are you feeling moving into this week?
Well, I think that we said that we got what we wanted, which was top 4, and we've met our goals. But with a final in 7 days, I hope the boys go in with nothing else before this game matter. Everything forward, focus on this game. It's all or nothing for this game. We're in a Champions League final. You don't know how often you get back to a Champions League final. It could take 10 years again, take 5 years. Look, PSG didn't make it back.
I was just telling RJ and Taryn this yesterday day before in the preview that we don't know when the next time we may even see a Champions League final. Like I'm 36, and the last time I was, that was good. 9 years ago.
27 or whatever. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I don't know next time. Like I don't know whether I'm going to be alive. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I can't guarantee all of that. So we have to cherish the moment that we've been given right now.
Now you'll be alive. You're not supporting Spurs, bro. You're supporting Chelsea. Or Arsenal. I think that we have the ability to put in a great performance against Man City. We shouldn't take for granted that we beat them twice because they didn't have their best squad out. I mean, I would admit that we didn't have our best squad out there either. But I think that we need to go in with principles. I think that someone commented that Man City wouldn't set up a low block. Yes, they would not set up a low block for 10 or 20 minutes, but they'll set up for 3 minutes. If we don't break counter-attack, if we take long to a counter-attack and we don't find that pass in behind, Man City does a really good job at getting 2 lines of 4 really quickly. They wouldn't stay there for 10 minutes, but they'll stay there for 3 minutes, and we need to know how to break down that for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think that we need to go in there with intensity, because the best performances we had so far this season was when our pressing were on point and we won back the ball in the middle of the field and then got in behind. And we need to take our chances this time. I have no doubt that Chelsea would play a good game. I think that in that first 25, 30 minutes, we're going to get 2 good chances, at least 2 good chances. But I fear that if we don't take those 2 good chances, we're going to lose that confidence and Man City will beat us. So I think that we need to go in there brave, forget the past, forget all the missed chances you had, and go in there full of intensity. It's 1 game, 90 minutes, and go out there and do. You have 7 days to prepare 1 game plan. This is it. We don't have any other game to think about. And I think that we can do it. We can do it.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. I feel like we can do it as well. It's just last few games have giving me a bit of a nightmare, but I'm pretty sure against City we will show up. We have been showing up in recent times. As I said, the underdog tag really works for us. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings the end of the final review of this Premier League season. The next time you see this panel will probably in the Champions League final, and then obviously the madness will start again next season. But as I said, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you heaps for always supporting. Smash the like button while you're here if you've enjoyed this particular review. Some announcements that I want to make in terms of what programs that are coming up. It is going to be a bumper ride of content coming up over the next week. First of all, Chelsea news segment with Amir and Kishan will come up tomorrow, UK 8 p.m. time. So do check out for that. That generally happens on the Sunday, 11:30 a.m. But obviously with this fixture, we couldn't do it today, so it's going to happen tomorrow. Then I've got Simon Johnson. I wish I had Simon Johnson. I've got Simon Phillips and Dan McCarthy coming up on Tuesday, 5 p.m. UK. So do look out for that. That's going to be an epic show. Got the boys, the news boys, the Chelsea news boys over here. We'll be talking about that. And then I'm just organising a few other guests over the course of the week. Obviously, the lads will be back again for the preview once the press conference happens. I may even get a Man City fan to come and do a separate show with that side of things to get the opposition analysis. And yeah, might have to do a watch along for the Champions League final, which is going to be on my birthday, 29th of May, which is a Saturday. But obviously in Sydney, it'll be the Sunday. So my birthday would be finished by then. But, you know, for Europe, my birthday continues, which is fantastic. So we'll do a watch along. I think the fans deserve to be participating on that and seeing the emotions. I'll see what boys are available throughout the course of it. And then hopefully, it's a happy sort of atmosphere for all of us after it with the review, the final review. So these are some big plans that's happening. And obviously, guys, you've been enjoying the Talk with Chelsea, Talk with Ms shows lately, where I allow you guys to come in and pretty much take over the show and just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I'm going to throw maybe a couple of them, sometime this week as well. So do look out for that. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Until next time, everyone, take care and see ya.